Hello and welcome to the SorareAndrews show here on the Sorare Data channel, something like that. I don't know. I'm so thrown off because that music was playing and I can see Quinny in the background. He's just like, he's just loving it. And it's exactly what I do when I watch it. Hello, I am Andrew Lairdinho. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare, joined as always by Andy Black on Sorare. And Quinny is here again, actually, to get us through the future. The future of fantasy football is here, Andy. How you feeling?
You know that GIF where the guy's like nodding his head and he's got the gun?
No way. Come on.
I mean, it's just annoying. Like, we were just talking off stream, like one of the divisions, Champion Europe Super Rare, they already modified the prize pool. It was $5,000 for first place and now it's $1,400, which honestly, that was probably wrong, and they probably got it right or whatever. But how much else is going to change on these sheets? Are they going to tell us what they changed? Like, people, I think that there's lots of issues. Like, there on some of them, fourth place is getting paid more than third place, and I don't know if you saw any of those, but it's who proofread these?
I guess I should have started with Quinny. Quinny, how you feeling?
Not too different, to be honest with you. Like, it's a bit disappointing when you read it once, you read it twice, and you're like, hold on a minute, what did that say again? And you're double checking it all, but looks lovely. All the announcement stuff. There's a blog for this. There's a separate page for that. Nice wee videos, but yeah, it's a wee bit like we shine off it.
You create like a lot of like new user content and whatnot. And when they release information like this and it's like in 4 different blogs, it's got to make your life a living nightmare.
Yeah, it does make it hard to go back and reference stuff later on, which I see you guys trying to do on occasion. It is difficult for sure. And yeah, I do think as well, like, if you were a new person, you didn't come onto a stream or something like that, like, you might not even know there's other blogs. You might just read that and you might just think things are underlined for emphasis or whatever. So yeah, maybe in this case, that's a good thing. Yeah.
I will say that because it feels like in terms of like the announcement stuff, everyone's like, a video would be great. And the 3 of us were literally just joking about the kind of video that they could be producing for all of this stuff. I will say that the benefit of the blogs is that it is something you can go back and reference. Like a video, if you go back and you're like, yeah, just watch that 35-minute video they did, and somewhere in there, it's like, But it's also would be great if the blogs were like correct right away, because like people are dying for this information. It comes out, and the immediate response that I saw was kind of like, is this right? Can this be right? And now, I mean, we're going to go through it, and I feel like we're going to have to I'm going to have to keep refreshing the page just to make sure that like this is the latest one that we have. Andy, I was going to say take offense, but I'm not taking offense at all. But I wouldn't say that they changed the prize pool. They just changed the graphic. The prize pool stayed the same. We just didn't know what it was at first. That's all.
Laird, that's such a bullshit answer.
As somebody who has created a ton of content over the years, I get it. Sometimes things like that slip through.
I'm usually pretty lenient with them on like the I don't know, checking your work and quality control type stuff, because usually it's like, I don't know, it can pretty easily be fixed. And like, sure, if there's little issues here, just get them fixed or whatever. But it's just, I don't know, it just feels like every single time there's a release, we get this. It's just annoying.
I think we just think it's more often because it just happened.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, thanks everyone for coming in. Scosmo was going to be here early. Bob Franklin, quote, "We are also hosting and joining podcasts and streams to answer any questions our community may have." I didn't know that they hosted that sort of stuff, so maybe that's
they need to do that right away, because we're going to speculate, and they could get ahead of that, right?
So I think the issue with doing that right away is that you don't know kind of what we are going, like, you don't know how we're going to react until we react.
No, the reason they can't do it right away is they need us to do all the quality control for them. But like, if they had to explain why they were,
you're right.
they had to explain why they were doing certain things on the spot, they'd be like, "Wait, no, that can't be right."
All right, that's fair. Okay, you got me. But I think the tricky one, and this is what came up. Skazma said such a shame that Super Rare is dead, which is implying that Super Rare was somehow thriving right now. But it was funny that like the one thing that I was like, oh wait, you can still play Champion Super, and you're like, no, refresh the page. It's a 20% of what it used to be. But anyway, thank you. Let's see, Mike Baston, Alex. I'm not going to go through. There are too many people here. I'm sorry. This is what happens when big updates happen. So there's a lot to get through. Thank you to everybody for coming in. And Cameron, I apologize, but yes, we're talking about Sorare today.
That's why they brought in a ringer.
The future of fantasy football, gentlemen. Is there anything we'll do the prize pools in a little bit. Is there anything else that they announced that you had like a positive or negative reaction to?
The Kings of Scotland are on board now. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Let's
I can't
go.
believe you did that to him right away.
Kings.
Oh my God.
No Kings of Scotland there, mate. No chance. But in saying that, there's people saying in the chat already, like Tavernier is a legitimate star card. Like he's Oscar level defender. He has lost the captain's armband, but coming into this summer to Jack Butland, the goalkeeper. So I don't know if that maybe signals he's on his way to Saudi. There's still a wee bit of Saudi jeopardy with him because Steven Gerrard's his former manager and blah de blah. But yeah, like that's a big card to come on the scene.
Do you think that, man, I'm picturing how they were like, oh yeah, we have the pre-order cards, and if anybody like transfers to an unlicensed club, like you'll never be able to open it, and we're going to have all of these Tavernier cards wrapped up in foil that nobody could ever use. Anyway.
Don't know how likely it is, but just thought I'd put the fear out there for everyone.
Yeah, but it's a game-breaking card, it feels like. Jeez.
Yeah. It's because they don't concede often. Well, Rangers are always quite defensive, and then he's on free kicks, penalties, corners, like everything. So he's like super Trent, card-wise.
Yeah. Oh. Anyway. Andy, were you upset that Segunda Division in Spain is gone now? Where is all of this? Here we go.
No. Now, they're just not minting the cards. It's all still covered, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
I don't think it's too bad. I think like part of the thing that I think we've all spoke about somewhere or another at one point is like Limiteds was like the solution to the high price point for cards and goalkeepers and all the rest of it. And then not too long after they did Division 2, and it felt like if you could rewind time, you probably wouldn't have done Limiteds when all the D2 stuff came out. Because it kind of in a roundabout way would have maybe solved the same problem. So now, like cutting them loose, I don't think it's that bad, really. You know, for the most part, like if you've got your cards already, cool, we can still use them if they transfer there. But like the supply, like the supply is what it is. But like when it comes to like general, like if you win a tier 2, tier 3 goalkeeper, and he's worth like it's a League 2 guy in France or Spain or something like that, they're not normally that exciting overall. Like sometimes the scores can be fine or whatever, but they're very transfer volatile. And if you do want to like actually trade them in the market for something better or worse, something better or more expensive, I should say, it's a little bit harder. So I think maybe focusing on like the actual top tier competitions going forward for limited and rare, I'm kind of thinking about with this, it's probably just going to serve prices pretty well.
Yep, that's fair. Let's just go. I'm going to skip.
By the way, I think that's a great take from Quinny. I think it'll help with supply a little bit, especially goalkeeper supply. For sure.
So did you have any reaction to this $15 million prize pool figure?
It's a great marketing tool.
So it's funny you say that because like it is, but it also is not. So I remember when I talked to Kate Schrumpf, who was like mostly in charge of the US sports at the time, but she'd come from, I don't know if she had directly come from DraftKings. She's there now. But she was like, people love like the big number. And like, it's a big marketing tool of like, oh yeah, like you can win this much money. And the weird thing that I find that Sorare do that we don't really see that much in DFS, and we do, granted, but like the biggest contest for daily fantasy sports is the Millie Maker. And the point of the Millie Maker is if you finish first, you win $1 million. And so what you can win is the headline. Nobody can win $15 million here. Like you'd have to win it's impossible. And so when you look at $15 million, you're like, that's a lot of money. And I feel like when they did it for, maybe it was when they announced the in-season comp stuff originally, and they were like, we have 5 million in prizes. And you're like, oh, sweet. And you go to like super rare Division 1 and they're like $2,000 top prize. And you're like, that's not $1 million. And it just feels like this $15 million is like, yay, big number. But like, I think the highest prize was, I had it up here, $7,000. Now, again, you can win that multiple times.
What do you want him to say, Laird? Just tell us what you want him to say.
I don't know. It just feels like they're not like tricking me because I get it, but I don't know.
I think that's a fine idea from like a marketing perspective. It'll perk people's ears up. They'll see that, and it's, I don't know. It's a big number. If you can win up to $7,000. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
I think it definitely sets expectations up. I kind of was talking about this a few times over the last week with some people because I actually got this little bit of intel about a week ago, and then I get quizzed on how I got it. I mean, it was a bit of a funny one. But when I see that, I do expect like somewhere at like unique, at super rare, D1 rares or something like that, there to be, I know there's $7,000 there, like you say, but a $10,000 prize somewhere, a $20,000 prize somewhere, you know. And that's, I think, part of the letdowns, I think, with this. Like you say, it's like, it's great to have that. Oh, it's £15 million over the season, but if you were to, right, cool, brilliant, let me go in and what game weeks can I do? And then you look at the prize pools and then it's like, there's a lot of people just winning like £100, or there's a lot of people just winning £40, depending on what division you're looking at. And then you can look at in-season champion and see in 6th place you win $400, but in 5th place you win $200. So yeah, it's obviously a huge prize pot. One thing I was interested in, and I was hoping maybe we could work that out today, or maybe you would know it, but like, what was their kind of general payout last year when it comes to like thresholds and stuff like that? Because I know that was one of the things that we kind of, it got the vibe from them before. It's like, oh, we're paying out so much in thresholds. And again, the vibe I got from them in terms of all the shift that they've been making is that they want like all of everything that they've got to give away to be so heavy and concentrated in fewer places rather than like scattered everywhere like it used to be, kind of. I don't really think this is much different.
I think the goal for these new prize pools is still to award as many people as possible while not just like giving away money for bad scores. But I still think that we're not going to see these huge like top heavy, and they are still top heavy, but not like so drastic. They did say that 10% of this, like 1.5 million, was going to the special weekly. So it's possible we have like a $10,000 prize in a special weekly somewhere. But
that would be
I think
so
the goal,
absurd.
What's that?
I said that would be so absurd. Just like one random special weekly, and it's like, oh, we're gonna give away $10,000 for, you know, I don't know,
Top tackler.
Top tackler, yeah. Which
No.
That was interesting, by the way.
That, yeah. I didn't mean it to like a random one like that. Like if there was a Champions League final or, you know, whatever, they can
Like the
figure out where
quarterfinals
there
or
are enough
something,
games
yeah.
or something that
Yeah.
they can give away 10K. I don't know. Yeah, KB says right here, game week 500 wins $500,000. There you go. We'll see. Let's see. Competition structure. We knew all about this, right? Oh, what do you think about Essence in season comps now?
I think it's huge. To be honest with you, again, I think that's a lot of the thing that you hear from a lot of managers. It's like winning money's great, but winning cards is kind of the fun bit. So although like Essence isn't a raw card, you know, when you open the box, if it's a bigger amount of Essence and you can get you over the line from, because they've changed the thing from 40 to 50 as well, I think it says there. So like, I think, you know, it just makes in season all the more appealing because you're really having your cake and eating it there. You know, you can win money, and even if you don't, or you get a box or two if you don't quite finish in the spots, because it's percentage based, the box payout, if I remember rightly, then you're working your way towards cards anyway. So I think that's a good move.
It's a good boost for those in-season cards.
I was going to say, it felt like Essence started making people be like, maybe I should just play Classic. Like Classic felt almost better now because of Essence. But now that they move it to in-season, I'll point out, two people have pointed this out to me already, that they had plans to only play Champion Classic, an in-season challenger and contender to make sure that their Essence was always champion. But now that they have Essence in season, you can't do that. So basically, like, your Essence is always going to be kind of mixed up unless you exclusively play champion.
Got you. I thought the way you said that there, like the Essence being like somewhat tagged was binned as well, but no, it's just that person.
No, still,
so it's
yeah,
like
it's still
cross.
tagged. But if you were like, oh, I'll never win contender Essence because I'm only going to play in season, and it's like, well, now you're going to get it because they have boxes. Special weeklies next week. Do you consider that an announcement of an announcement?
Well,
I think it would have been
yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
Let us digest this first, and then we can move on. Let's see. Oh, how about the magical word? Still here.
Ooh.
Still here. Thresholds.
Third,
Do
I
you think
will
you
say,
can win cash?
you know, I was tough on them like when I first, I don't know, started talking. I do think like most of the limited and rare pools look pretty reasonable to me. Like I thought that everything looked, and that's where the vast majority of players play. So I don't want to like come off as like being super negative. Like I do think that limited and rare, and I think we'll know even more once Peter does his full breakdown, because Peter said he's going to do a full breakdown of like the before and after, and I think he said that at least.
Nice.
So that'll be interesting to look at those comparisons. If not, I just give Peter a ton of work. So
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Just threw him right under the bus there. The one thing I keep thinking of is Peter's like very nervous about Essence, that it's going to, that they're giving out too much and it's going to lead to too many people trying to craft too many cards. And now they're giving Essence in season as well. Like this was before even the possibility that it was an in season. And so,
but I think that we have seen reduction in card rewards kind of across the board. So maybe that's the balance there.
Yeah, I think so. Thoughts on them calling the Olympic stuff the medal special weekly?
I can dig it.
I guess
very,
it's a word they
global
can't use, I guess. The big game.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Podium's bigger than ever. So how about the fact that, so not only are they moving, or not moving, they are adding Essence to, or excuse me, reward boxes to in-season. But now half of the people in every division will get a box as opposed to only a quarter in Classic. And market credits only in in-season comps. I feel like they're doing everything they can to just kill Classic while still being like, no, you can win a ton. But like in season, I feel like is going to just look so much better. If not now, then fairly soon.
I think it's making it like so easy to be an in-season player to start with. You know, like that's the way to start this game, isn't to go into the secondary and go and get a wee 1920 Valencia card and go and get bits and pieces from here, there and everywhere and scramble your favorite team together and have a shot. It's very much driven towards start playing with the new shiny stuff now, you know.
And are there no more cards in boxes? Do I remember that correctly?
I think that's right.
Well, I've been on the phone with the old Frenchies, the old French powerhouse that is Sorare, who only control the internet, and I never take their name in vain. And I asked the question because I did say to them, like, it felt like Essence was maybe a prelude to card rewards coming out of boxes, and the answer to that was no. Like, Essence is not a prelude to card rewards coming out of boxes, so I can maybe say that without getting in trouble. I don't know, but that was a question I had ahead of today, and that was an answer I got. So I think I can share it. But yeah, I think they'll be there somewhere.
So the in-season boxes will only have Essence or market credits.
I was told that in-season boxes were like Essence boxes.
Yes.
If you know what I mean, that was the way it was described to me. So yeah, I think it's like specifically like the in-season ones are just like, I didn't even know market credits were going to be a thing with it, but yeah, Essence and credits, maybe some power-ups.
So this is classic though. Reward boxes will contain level up, boosts, or Essence.
Can they take the market credits out?
I think. Oh wait, they took the market credits out. Yeah.
No, I
but
think
no boosts and in-season.
I'm just not that excited about market credits.
Why not?
I don't know. It's like I don't know. Winning a coupon doesn't sound that great, but whatever. I guess.
I finally used my first one the other day in baseball.
Nice.
It was exhilarating, Andy. I can't describe the experience of getting 25% off something.
Is a market credit bot not the DGen's best friend?
Oh, totally is.
Especially when instant buy just being a click, you know, like, oh, that's not really 30 quid to me, you know. I'm really getting it for 15, you know.
It's like when my wife shops at Target, you know. She shows me how much she saved, not how much she spent.
Of course. Maybe market credits and Classic would be logical too to help people buy those cards in order to get into in-season comps, which makes sense, I guess. Let's see. Contender, we talked about that a little bit.
The biggest surprise I had in this update, which I was going to mention before Andy slapped me in the face with the Rangers comment, was the substitute change of score.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that's quite an interesting dynamic. It makes the super sub like all the way viable because you can there's always been subs that are out there that can get around 10 AA in like 20 or 10 minutes. But because they've got that 25 starting point, like they're firmly like not a desirable play. Not that there are any more now, but the fact that they come onto the pitch with 35, it means like if you do have a guy you know is a 60-minute sub every game and he's a striker, takes a few shots, he'll play some people through, then like that's a wee bit more viable.
I've got a hot take for you there. I don't think it matters at all except for in cap mode. It would have mattered in cap mode and it would have helped people achieve thresholds a lot easier had they, given it to us earlier. But I don't think you're not winning with a player scoring 35, 40, 45 points realistically. I mean,
yeah,
you might sneak into the prizes somewhere, but I don't think it really matters.
I think my favorite part of this point here, with the substitute feature becoming more popular in Rivals, it feels like the reason it became more popular was specifically Germany during the World Cup when they didn't have a forward. And it's like, this feature became popular because your game was broken, not because of anything else. But hey.
Good point.
Maybe it'll make a difference, Andy. We'll start rolling out subs.
Well, like Victor said in chat, it does make a difference in Rivals, so that's cool.
Okay. Let's see. All of that. Next week, special event for the cards with a chance to win a very special card. What do you guys think it is?
Mbappe Real Madrid.
Autographed?
Oh, no, they wouldn't just give that away.
No.
That's maybe, but
you think he's playing it?
Maybe. Did you see his reaction to his card? Oh, very nice. Like, he's definitely tuned in for this season.
I'm sure he's making his Sorare data watch lists right now.
Did he have a
Anyway, we
signed
have
card
special
last year?
weeklies next week, and then new cards start for contenders leagues next week as well. That's a week from yesterday for those watching live. Let's see. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the prize pool for in season or for classic? Let me just refresh to make sure we have the most up to date one too.
Likewise.
Andy, you going to play in season because of these prize pools?
I'm gonna play in season limited for sure. I think.
Hello.
Yeah. I don't know. Those pools looked appealing to me.
Yeah. It's so the difficulty that I have with these prize pool announcements, like somebody like PSU is always like, oh, this one's good, this one's bad, we're gonna, and like none of it really changed what I was gonna do. I'm not like redoing my entire gallery because of like what they announced, or my plans are all that different. But like the numbers themselves, not that they don't matter, but I feel like it's just so hard to like visualize where you're gonna be throughout. Like, are you like, oh yeah, I just have to finish first in D1 3 times and I'm set?
The champion prize pool for this, I've just got it on my screen so it's easier to see two of them side by side. It's very similar to that Premier League one, but it's like double in terms of the long tail. So like I know there'll be more people in it and there's more teams in it and stuff, but it's basically the same prize pool in terms of top spots, top podiums, and all the rest of it. So yeah, like I'm looking at divisions like 1, 2, and 3. They pay 160th, 180th, and 150th for champion limited.
Champion. There we go.
So that's pretty attractive, you know, before you get league specific, depending on what your taste is, obviously, what cards you're after. It's basically the same.
Yeah, paying more and longer in D1 than D3 is wild because there are so fewer people in D1.
That's kind of good, but
like 100th or 151st in D1 wins $10, and 151st in D3, where there are way more people playing, is nothing. So it's just another like push to get to D1. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say like these are just numbers for me, but it's like I'm not sure I'm making any decisions because I'm like, oh, if I finish 70th in D1 champion limited in season, I win $20. But maybe it will be. Pascal said division splits still insufficiently differentiated. May as well play Division 5. It's so obvious they have to change it, but they didn't. I mean, this seems very, very different to me.
It does. Like only being able to win $100 in D5. I do not want to play in D5. No,
right.
$5 for 70th place or 41st place. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like people look at that and they're just like, it's easy to win Division 5. So why wouldn't I just get my $100 instead of trying to finish 10th in Division 1? And it's like, it's not that easy.
Yeah. I think that's part of the unknown element of it all is like how, because again, when we were looking at this a wee while ago, it's like, oh, well, especially the first couple of game weeks, there won't be that many cards. So you'll have a bit of an edge. But with this pre-order thing, like that's kind of out the window. There's no real early to market advantage, I don't think, to really be had. There will be if you can get like the first like fully fledged like city stack or something like that together and you can run it out right away. But they'll still have all these divisions filled for match day 1. You know, as best they can. They'll sell all the cards they possibly can before the first kick of the ball. So it'll be... And another thing I noticed in this as well, I think it was you, Laird, was saying that they'll change it, and it looks like they have, but you won't be relegated for being idle.
Yeah.
Now, so you can kind of pick your moments a bit better, perhaps, as well.
Yeah, I think... sorry, I was going back in the chat here.
I think we'll definitely see people saving their Division 1 lineups for when they have like those God matchups.
Yeah. What do you think happens? Like, what do you think you would do strategy-wise if you had, like, if you end up having 3 Division 1 entries, but then a terrible matchup week?
So West Ham's away to Man City or something.
Yeah. Do you just not play those cards?
Yeah, I think, or you play them in Champion or something. You play them somewhere else. Just anywhere that you have an extra slot available, you throw. Because I'm not, in all scarcities, I'm not going to play all these divisions. Like I have a lot of lineups, but there's no way I play them all. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be another spot that I can punt them in.
Yeah. That's fair.
I think if you did have the 3D1s, it might be smart to play one lineup then, just in case, because if it is Man City away to West Ham, if they did get a win, like you've got to think somebody's done pretty well, and then you're killing all the City stacks that would have done horrible. So also it's a bit of a fantasy situation, but if you've got 3, maybe just keep one just in case, because there's nothing worse than when your guys bang and you don't have them in a team, or you don't have them in the best team, or that's just as bad as a DNP.
So I put this together, and I have no idea if the numbers are still right. Just looking at like rare and limited, it seems like we all knew that contender was the worst in their minds, but this kind of makes it like obviously Premier League and champion first place in limited and rare, or excuse me, in limited is more than contender rare, which I think makes sense. Like I know it looks kind of weird, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I can kind of understand it. Like there's going to be way more people in there as well, so I can kind of get it. But where is the limited ones for those guys?
Yeah, for instance,
they're all the way down. I think what some people were maybe hoping or keeping their eye out for with this is like an imbalance somewhere. Like, I don't know, like La Liga is 2.5, Bundesliga is 2.5. They're not that different to like Champion or the Prem necessarily. So maybe that's the kind of thing, I suppose. But you're looking to play against less people to win ideally just as much, So it does feel quite kind of evenly spread looking at those numbers. There's not like a massive outlier, but there's maybe a crease in the details, like La Liga or something.
Hold on. This has to be wrong. Challenger rare D1 is 350, but contender, is 600. Let's see if they change that. What'd I say? Oh, wait, I gotta scroll all the way down basically for these two.
Rare Classic Challenger top spot 350. Rare Classic Contender top spot 600.
600. That's got to be wrong.
Yeah, it can't be 350. That must be a limited payout that they've put in the rare spot by accident.
They have updated all the graphics that had had fourth place winning more than third place. It looks like.
Oh, they did. Okay,
looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one.
I mean, that's great that they got it fixed, but like, why'd you release it that way?
Yeah, like I think.
Yeah, the Challenger second place is 350 as well as the first place being 350 on the graphic, and I have refreshed it. Oh, you've got, that's Contender 600. Yeah, so that's probably meant to be 700.
So I think, I would think so. I think this Challenger, I'm guessing this has to be 700 or even 600. So that's the same as Contender, but it seems like Challenger is ahead of Contender everywhere else.
See, another thing, by the way, with all those League 2 ones going off, I know we kind of mentioned it already, but the Contender region's a lot less crowded coming into this. I know it's classic, so all the stuff that's here is still playing in that for the most part, but that region's got like way quieter with all those clubs not coming back.
For end season, especially.
Yeah.
Totally. It has so many no longer minted cards in it. Like, obviously, if it's one season of Segunda Division, like La Liga 2, there's like all the Russian Premier League cards are still there.
Every guy that's ever went to China.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of cards.
It's a lot of cards. Any of the Argentina ones they didn't renew. I was going to say Brazil, but that's Challenger. So I was thinking like Mineiro, like that.
I seen someone in the chat earlier on saying Racing tweeted like today. So I don't know if I didn't check it out, but maybe that's something. But they did say in that announcement as well, obviously, when they got the notification about Rangers, the return of Tony Watt and Dundee United was mentioned there as well. But they did mention there's another couple of clubs coming on in the next couple of days, and there's a few, in terms of the European landscape, there's still a few big hitters missing, like Juve, Roma. There's one or two of those guys knocking about, and maybe, like, say, Brazil, Inter, yeah. So we maybe get some new licenses as well, which is always fun in games when that happens. I thought they might have made a bigger deal about Rangers, but rather than just sneaking into that announcement, it's just like, new club, you know. Try and get that rivalry on the timeline, you know. No, I don't need to talk about Rangers. No. I'm all right.
Yeah, Sporting. Although I don't care about Sporting anymore.
But by the way, with Rangers being on, my youngest son, one of his best mates in school, his dad is the Rangers physio. So,
is he also a school nurse?
No, he's like the actual. See, when somebody gets injured on the pitch, he's like the guy. Mm. So, I don't know. That came to mind just now.
If you win a Rangers card, do you just immediately get rid of it?
Oh yeah, just probably a giveaway, unless it's Tavernier or sell them. Except we were funny, but the rest of them might just be a donation into the Twitter sphere or something.
Okay, all right.
But I'm never playing them. I didn't keep actually. I sold my big head James Sands when he went there, but as soon as he left, I bought him back. You know, and we can just forget that ever happened. You know. Yeah. But no Rangers cards in my gallery.
He needs to forget it ever happened.
Yeah.
Was there anything in the classic pool? Like, I hate saying like doing this because I hate to say it personally, the way that I play, like my cards are set. I'm not doing anything differently. And Quinny, like what you were saying, if you like look at all, and this is just first place in Division 1, so there's like way more to this. But there's no real like outlier that we don't think is a mistake, that you're like, oh, I actually need to go play this. And so do you think this actually changes anyone's strategy?
It's hard to imagine it changes people's strategy, but it might get some people just to like knuckle into what they'd, because I think a lot of people have probably been waiting to see how the new prize pool looked compared to the handover period that we had before. Don't think it looks remarkably different, you know, so it's a bit bigger because it's planned for the season and they don't have thresholds to hold them back or whatever. But no, I think what it maybe will wake some people up to is the fact that like in season and classic, it's kind of like it's like two sides of the same coin. You know, it's just what one do you maybe put more of your effort into, or what one do you start with? Because like the prize pools in one of them isn't so good where you'd be like, oh well, I'm only going to focus on that. Mm-hmm. You know, so every card becomes classic at some point. So if you maybe don't really focus on it this year, if you're a newer player or something like that, fine. But it will be something that your cards will drop into. So it's maybe for some people that have been here a bit longer, maybe thinking about, oh, I'll just focus on classic or whatever. It's maybe just that kind of realization of this, the kind of swinging doors in between the two divisions where it's you're kind of playing them all. If you're playing Sorare at the kind of level most of us kind of talk about it do.
KB saying that the Bundesliga and La Liga prize pools compared to the multi-league, which I assume is champion, is huge for them. Like, I feel like we kind of knew that they would be big though, right? Like they're not as big as champion, and not as big as Prem, but they're still pretty big.
I'm maybe a wee bit surprised that they're so far ahead of contender.
That's fair.
You know, like you did get the feeling it would be champ or Prem champ would be like 1 and 2, and then like the rest of it, like if like contender was third, Bundesliga and La Liga were joint fourth or something, might not have been that big a surprise because you know it's quite a big region contender, like Belgium, America, Turkey, you know, all the rest of it. But yeah,
these are the first place D1 prizes as of now in limited. So yeah, Prem 1,500, Champion also 1,500, Bundesliga, La Liga 1,300, Challenger 12, and Contender 1,000. and basically a third of that down, a third or a quarter for classic for podiums. Toby said, I thought it would be Champ 1, Premier League 2, then Challenger, Bundesliga, La Liga. Yeah, I mean,
it's quite feasible because you don't expect Bundesliga and La Liga to quite get the same attention or glamour status that the Prem will have by itself, and Champions just all of them, so it can't be smaller than the Prem. But I think, like, again, it's been really good on this channel for some of the kind of archetypes that you see in these leagues being discussed, like the Bundesliga and La Liga. Because it is only an 18 and a 20 team division, like it's theoretically a bit easier to craft like a winning team out of maybe a budget or scouting in between the stacks or whatever than it would be in Champion itself, because Champion will have a watered down version of the problem people felt with All-Star, you know. So like if you do have the Newcastle stack that smashes, but you know, if Bayern have smashed, if Juve have killed somebody, you know, blah, 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 then you're going to get drowned out a little bit. So I think, yeah, the Bundesliga and the La Liga one is maybe one that does take a bit of food for thought, because like La Liga is not a high-scoring league necessarily, and in Bundesliga, there's opportunities for high scores fucking everywhere, really.
Yeah.
It just depends on the game.
This is an interesting point here. So, Josh, I think they disregard the supply somewhat when deciding the pools. Pro League has 7 seasons worth of supply in Classic, 400 Vanakins. The pool's not enough. I don't know how they deal with that, to be honest. Because if it was by the number of cards, like Contender would be the biggest one by far.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
It's just, yeah, it does feel like a whole lot of just go play Prem and Champ and see what happens.
We have known it would be there for months. Hilo's saying there as well. And it was quite suspected that it would be roundabout where it is. But I think, yeah, it is like just kind of taking a pause and a look at it. Like it is, especially the rare one. The limited one doesn't really surprise me too much because it's like 1500s versus 1200s or whatever. But at rare, $2,500 top spot versus like 1600s and stuff like that, it is like quite a difference.
Mm-hmm. It is like the opportunity to make your money back is still very much there for like limited has we've kind of always said that, like if you finish first in limited, like your lineup surely is paid off like that. And rare is the same way. Super rare, Andy?
You know, I guess it sort of depends on which competition we're talking about, but yeah. I don't know. Some of those Premier League supers cost over $5,000. So
Mm-hmm.
It's more the amount of places that pays out on this that bums me out when I look at it. Like super rare in season, D1 6 places, D2 6, D3 4. It's like I don't remember the numbers that well, but it is like circa 80 entries a division. You know, I don't know how many of them. Like Peter's great for telling us about meaningful lineups and stuff like that. I don't know how many of them is it, but it just feels like so few places that you can actually catch your winning. You know.
yeah, I think when I looked at it was the super rare Premier League in season. It was like, oh, it only pays 4 places in 1 and 2 and 3 and third. It's like, why do I want to play this? Like why not give her? Why don't they pay down to like 10th place and give out 20, 40, $50 or something? Like,
Well, 50% of people who enter any of these will win a box.
yeah.
Which you can get a market credit to then buy the better super rares so you can finish on the podium, Andy. It's as simple as that. That's progression. If you've ever thought about that.
Didn't think about it myself. But it is very lackluster, I must say, looking at that top 4, top 3s and stuff like that, especially like in season, if you're going to go and buy a stack or you're going to go and, you need 3 cards, you don't need all 5 obviously, but all the same, if you're going to have 3 lineups competing, you're talking about 10 cards, 12 cards minimum to get. And then Like when you're looking at this, there's 38 games in the season. How many times can you like forecast yourself being in the top 4 in any division ever? You're thinking, I think to myself once or twice a year is kind of my, sweet spot. That's probably what I'm going to do in terms of like hitting a big lineup or hitting a big score that makes a difference. And there really is no room for error with that,
I don't want to, I hate like calling people out, but what are the odds that you are finishing ahead of Pranksy's 3 lineups ever?
Exactly. So probably not.
It just means to pay down further. Even if we're giving away $20-$40 or something, pay it down further. And why are we stopping that prize pool at $500? It just seems absurd. What do they think that only like 10 people are going to play this division?
I was going to say, I wonder how many people they think will play. Like, I don't know how many were playing at the end.
But no one can look at that and think, I need to buy super rares.
Right.
Sorry, Andy, on you go. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I'm sure we could look that up pretty quickly, and probably the number of people you're rewarding out there is like the lowest percentage out of anywhere.
Prem Classic only rewards to 3. It's actually shorter.
Yeah. And there's going to be so many more cards there.
So many more.
Yeah. It's like,
this
all right,
is
I guess I'll actually. Granted, you're going to win boxes and get your essence and all that. Great. But
like 10 rewards in Premier League Super Rare every game week. Classic. Yeah. 10.
And we're
for everybody.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how they continually make the super rare division like worse, but every single update it's like, hey, your super rares are actually a little bit worse. Now they're a little bit more worse, and now they're a little bit more worse. Like we should be going the other direction. I don't understand it at all.
Like super rare should be the spot where you can win 20 grand or something like that, really. I know unique kind of technically should be more, but see if they're reformatting all this and they want to have like a big pool somewhere, then
I mean, there's kind of 2 directions they can go with it. They can make it top heavy, or they can make it to where it's just maybe it's the division that it's just easy to win in. But right now it's hard to win, and it's really hard to win, and then the prizes are just like what are they, a little bit better than like the rare division?
Yeah.
And it's like 100 times harder.
Yeah. Champion is much bigger than Prem.
Well, it was much bigger when it was $5,000, but
but do you think that the Prem will become so difficult? And I think the problem with that competition is that it doesn't take a lot for that competition to become really difficult to win. Because as soon as somebody has the Man City stack, the Arsenal stack, the Liverpool stack, or 6 stacks, and you run that's 3 3 placements possibly. Like you're not, and they were just like, all right, I'll go to Champion, which has more, as we can see here. But it does seem weird that you can finish lower in D2 and win the same. I don't know.
Yeah, 10th and 9th there. I see that as well.
The splitting, like the introduction of the divisions really shortened the prize pool lengths. Like, and like, obviously if you just did a total, but they optically look so bad now. Whether they're like basically the same, we're rewarding the same number of people. Could even be more for all we know. But just like, oh yeah, you have to finish top 10 or else you get nothing. I mean, you get a box, I guess, with a market credit.
Yeah, because I think All-Star Super Rare, what did it max out at? Like 36 spots or something like that?
That's maybe. That seems high, but maybe.
Tier 5 and crap.
Is what this is? 32 in Champion. Like, so 32 people win Champion Super Rare, 32 entries win rewards across the 3 divisions in champion. And challenger is 20, 30, same number, despite so many more teams. And contender is also the same, despite 10,000 teams in contender.
Agent Cooper said, surely all SR cards that don't score well are worthless now. I mean, that's what are you going to do with a 45 average super rare now?
Andy, I know exactly what
Play
you
it in
do.
rare.
Oh, you could, but no, you use it for your now increased collection bonus for super rares. Now you get
like that.
6%. No?
I liked it because I'm biased. But...
Don't do it, Andy. Don't do it. Special weeklies. There you go. That's what you do with them.
But I think with like a lot of things that Sorare do, there's always a wee bit, or not always, but sometimes with these things that look innocuous, there's a wee bit of 4D chess on the go. So why have they changed the collection bonus? There's maybe something that will tie into that later, maybe, or something. I don't know, where maybe you keep... Oh, well, actually, do you know, thinking about it, maybe it's the case of like, if you have a super rare and you play it in rare, it now has an advantage, potentially. Or, I don't know. But normally with these things, it look nothing. In an announcement or two, maybe it means something. That's
actually a bit interesting. Because theoretically, you could play a super rare in rare that has like 16% instead of 15%.
I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, like... You would see someone like Pranksy just buy all the super rares then and then run them in rare competitions. I think,
Pranksy already does that.
Yeah, but now he's getting 10% on them. Like now you're going to give him a boost too. Like, no, thank you. I think you could do something maybe where it's like if you play a SR down, it now counts as in season or something. Like, something like that might be interesting. That also might be a terrible idea too. I don't know. I don't know. We just found a way to make SRs worse again.
I think that's kind of the whole thing is that the only time I can think of when super rares were like attractive was when they introduced cap 240 threshold for super rares.
Yeah.
And everybody got really excited about super rares. And since then, and even before that, like, I feel like a running joke is that it looks like a good time to buy super rares has been like advice that somebody's given you since you joined Sorare. Like when I joined 3.5 years ago, and it's like, hey, super rares are kind of undervalued. And they're like, yeah, if they just do this. And our good friend Tuggy was like, hey, maybe they're going to take some of that threshold money and throw it into super rares. And we're just like, I think it's our fault because like we keep buying them with this hope that like super rare will be, and every update they're like, hey, they're getting a little worse, and we're like, okay, but I'll keep buying them.
You don't know how long this is going back since before you even joined the platform, but everyone was like, oh, surely the super rare prices will get better. I mean, this is like early days, like the very beginning. People started saying that, and then like every update, it was like, oh, surely the next one, it'll be the super rares day, and
it felt like the best reason to buy super rares was to win rares in Rare Pro. Like it was never to win super rares. Like nobody bought super rares to win super rares.
Yeah. Hey, Laird, I've got to go do some work stuff. So you and Quinny finish up. It was great talking to you guys about this stuff. But Quinny,
pleasure.
Go Rangers.
What an asshole.
Yeah. I hope he buys a Ranger stack and then never wins with it. That'd be great. Always buying the Celtic cards, just like in real life. But it brings up a great point there. But like the removal of the cross, maybe that's what the collection bonus is. Maybe 1% is not major, so it's not really the same dynamic as we used to have before. Yeah. But like with the removal of the cross scarcity competition, and with the prize pool getting worse and worse, like I kind of tried to say it a minute ago. I don't know if I did it well enough, but like seriously, like especially if you're new, you would look at super rares and go, why? You know, why? Why would I bother with this? It's like 9 people win, and then I need to get 3 teams together if I'm going to be as competitive as the more competitive players to be in amongst it. And it just doesn't add up, you know, very quickly.
I think the draw for Super Rare was always that you could win the best prizes there. And not like the actual best, but like right now, winning a unique for most people on the platform is like,
Troll.
you don't need it. Like it's a great goal, and like congrats for everyone who's won one, but usually it's one that like you don't even want to use. It just happens to be unique. But ever since they like changed it so that you can win uniques in unique, and they moved the star super rare to the super rare division, it's like it feels like we're all playing super rare just for the shot at that like 1-star super every week. And then you end up like Haber, who wins Luis Suarez, who's like magically put into the pool. But it like that's what we always fall for when it came to super rares. And it was like, man, first place in like all-star super rare, you theoretically could win an Mbappe or a Bellingham super rare, and you're just like, that's the peak. And realistically, we're not winning that. Regardless of the prize pool, realistically, you're not finishing first.
Maybe realistically, it's never been more realistic because you can just save your essence up all year. Like you can guarantee a 50-50 pool now, you know, if you wait long enough. So maybe, but
yeah, maybe we're just underestimating the value of essence, and that the reward boxes, because it's 20, you know, you only have to finish in the top quarter for in classic competitions to win a box, and the box gets you essence, and essence will eventually get you there. Like maybe the reason that we're so feels like we're pretty negative is that they didn't make a big deal about the box, or excuse me, like a big enough deal about the boxes, other than like, oh yeah, in season 50% get them, and in classic 25%. But if we're really, if essence is supposed to be it, then the boxes are what we should be going after. Peter, it's 50% just for in season, 25% for classic.
So
I was curious about this. Agent Cooper said it won't be long till super rares of certain players will be listed at the same price as the rares.
Yeah, it's definitely a distinct possibility for bang average Joe.
There were like a number of times. So I don't like go back and forth on whether I think the increased utility for super rares is like something worth paying for. Like you're not buying a super rare to play it in rare. But there are times, like if the prices are the same, you buy the super rare, right? Unless you have a collection or something like that.
Yeah, I think I did think about this the other day. I can't remember what auction I seen, but I seen a super rare auction go for like 80 quid. And I was thinking, wow, if I was a guy, like we were talking about Matt Smaller Daly earlier on today, but, you know, if I come on to Sorare and I fancy myself as a football manager guy, or, you know, I like to know about Wonder Kids or something, and I can see a guy's criminally underpriced at rare, maybe I would buy a super rare, like maybe just for a wee bit of extra, I don't know, like maybe you could sell it for more later on is the theory of it, but as you can see, the price pool doesn't really warrant that. But if the price does get so low, if you were really high on a guy or you really believed in them, maybe that becomes a play, because then you've got maybe an extra 1% on it because it's the collection bonus has been adjusted and stuff. But the prices would really need to be, you know, it would kind of be like a one-off, you know, in a sense, you know.
There was he had some Saudi links, but I bought a Balthazar Rodriguez, is that his last name? No, I'm
nice.
Anyway, his super rare, it is Rodriguez. His super rare went for almost, let's see. I bought his rare exactly a month ago for 0.0128. 0.0128. And his super rare went for 0.0275. So like less than half or less than double, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, should I have just bought the super rare?
But again, like, it's better to build a proper, if we're talking at this level of the game, it's definitely better to build like your rares out at this point, you know, because rare is pretty juicy in terms of all the, across all the divisions, you know, what have I got in front of me here in season? In-season champion, like top 50 is basically where you start getting paid out. And I think a lot of managers have decent teams. Top 50 is a marker you can shoot for, you know, once you've got everything up and going. So my gut reaction to that would be more, if I bought the super rare, I should have bought 2 rares, maybe, you know.
That's fair.
That's it.
Just to put the point home, this is the lineup builder I have for tomorrow's game week, that I have 3 super rares in Division 4 limited.
Oh, Jesus.
There's MMD.
Yeah, loving life.
Agent Cooper said, is there anything Sorare can do to make super rares more powerful in SO5? Well, they used to. Maybe some gimmicky ideas to incentivize playing them over a rare card. I mean, the scarcity bonus was it. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's maybe a bit too much. I think, like, again, like the main vibe I got from them back in January, February when they were doing all these changes is just that they wanted everything to be like simpler, much more kind of like linear, like up and down the line. Like you can see, you start in Division 4, all the money's there, all the cards are there in the one place. It's not scattered around as much anymore. And yeah, which has been the demise of the pro region. But like, I don't think like ultimately super rare is something that they do spend much time thinking about or much energy or effort putting into, but I do think that's kind of like the rare prize pool, the limited prize pool, everything looks quite square and fine. But again, if you're thinking about like on platform, your career, your progression or whatever, like you should have a division where you look at it and people go, wow, imagine I could get into that division, then I'd be really kicking it, you know. And even though Unique has got a great podium on it, like I'm looking at Unique in-season champion, it plays to 4 places. That's not the zone to have people aiming for, because Uniques are so scarce and so much of a different animal. And Rare's just, you know, fair enough. Like Rare could be a really chunky prize pool where it's like 10k on a top spot or 20 grand across the podium or something. But I don't think the card prices overly warrant that, unless it is like a Champions League final special weekly kind of thing or whatever. But like, that's probably why I've been so bullish on super rares, because I do think if you're going to put that into the prize pool somewhere, it would be super rares where the cards are scarce enough. You can charge a little bit more if you're thinking about them per unit, but there's still enough out there where there's 50 people in it, you know. There's 100 managers across 3 divisions, 200 managers across 3 divisions, where people feel like I could be one of them, you know. I could get into that one day and get amongst winning 20 grand a weekend or something.
Yeah. I think that is a great point, because uniques are so far away from being attainable for enough people. Like, you don't need one, you need like a lot of them to like compete there. And super rares, and maybe it's only because the prices drop so much, but like they are obtainable for some people, but they're giving those people absolutely no incentive to want them.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'll be definitely saving my super rare essence all the way to top level or whatever.
So part of the reason why I will do absolutely the same thing is the number of like, I don't even win that many super rares, but tier 3, 4, and 5 super rares for the most part are completely unsellable too. Like, the rare of the same card is probably more valuable than the super rare for a lot of cards. And so if you can guarantee that you just don't have any of that possibility in the prize pool, I'm 100% with you on that.
Yeah. So that's maybe something that's changed or maybe I was going to do that anyway, but it's just further underlined it. That I can say at the beginning of the season, I want to win a star super rare. And I'm definitely in with a 50-50 shot of it at some point. Right. It's just a matter of time, you know. So I remember last year, I was thinking this when we were chatting a moment ago about this kind of thing, but like, I remember at the beginning of last season, when I seen the prize pools come out, when there was a unique and a super rare at the top of 240, I said I want to win that once or twice, and then I won it like in the first month of the season, and then I got top 5 a few times towards the back end or whatever. But looking at that at first, I felt dead deflated, thinking like, what's even the point of going for Nax? It's going to be against free Pranksies, free Nanzos, free Sean's, free all these people, you know. But with the essence, it's kind of your safety net that if you're a regular good loser, you know, like you save up your tokens often enough, then it'll pay out for something at some point, you know.
See, that's a little bit of hope that they want to make sure we have, because we'll just keep playing Super Rare. They're like, just need a box. If I get a box, I can get some essence. If I get some essence, eventually we'll get there. All right, so I guess I'll buy some more Super Rares. I'm glad Andy left so you can convince me to do that.
I don't know if I'm on the record for convincing you to do anything yet, but
did the prize pools change your opinion of in-season at all? Like whether to play right away or not?
I think the one thing that might have changed my mind on trying to get in season sooner rather than later is that like this is the first year where like you can play a full season with a new card. And granted, in season the thing's only been here for 2 minutes, but whenever like new season cards come out, it's normally like 4 games, 5 games into the season, and you know you're not getting like full utility on like the season bonus is what we used to kind of chase and crave in a roundabout way. And so I think that aspect of it is appealing because you can like see like from match day 1, you can do these prize pools we've looked at for 38 match days across the season. So that does pique my interest a little bit more, the pre-order part of it. But no, I think it's much more a case of like for Classic, I'm really glad I've done a lot of the housekeeping over the last couple of months, because Classic is going to be really competitive. I think it's going to be really rewarding to win in it. Like when you do place high, you're going to be so buzzing. Like you'll have a team that you'll be just like, look at who I picked. Look at the 5 I put together, you know, and I've got this going on. I've had this guy for 2 minutes. I've had this guy for 2 years. And I think like Classic will be the main kind of place where you might get, you know, top 50, pull a decent card, get some boxes while you're at it, and that kind of thing. So I think it's just maybe a wee bit more like I'm glad I've done all my Classic homework. I've got still a few cards. I think I say this every time. There's still another couple just to fill the spots out. But I think maybe some people have maybe neglected Classic and they're maybe now looking at it and going, right, well, I need 3 defenders for this. I need 2 midfielders for that. And I could do with a goalkeeper. And there may be a little bit of that activity over the next few days.
It is kind of an interesting one with like, and I've said this like so many times, like we've never had a summer like this, that there are people who want to play in season. Like they really want to play Sorare, but they can't do anything right now because the cards like don't exist yet. And so like when they come, that's when everyone's like, let's go. But we're all just kind of like, you can't do anything now. You can figure out like who you want to buy, but you know, if there's a card that you want and you're like, I want to pay $50 most for this card. And then the first few go at $250 because people are just like going nuts. What do you do? Like, it's almost like not only do you have to figure out like which cards you want, how much you're willing to spend. I'll put it this way. What cards you want, what your max bid is, and what you're actually willing to spend, which is probably 2 or 3x your max bid. And so it's just like a lot of preparation that needs to go into it that like we won't see on the platform, because it's a lot of people who are like getting ready. Really, I guess the only way we see it is people selling cards because they want to like accumulate enough of a balance to be able to get these in-season cards.
So few people are buying cards on the secondary. Like if you like, it's so illiquid at the moment, and I do feel that kind of constipation. We've had that a few times with things before, where people are waiting for the thing to come out, whatever it's been before. You know, so it's maybe a wee bit of deja vu in that regard. But yeah, I definitely think there's been lots of people that haven't given a damn about Classic, and they've been keeping a wallet together, and they're probably still going to charge ahead with that strategy. But maybe some people kind of in no man's land that are maybe looking over their shoulder. And like I said at the beginning of this, like it's 2 sides of the same coin. Like you really need to have a strategy of working strategy for both of them. Maybe you start with one and it takes time to make the other one happen. But I think for anyone that has been totally discounting Classic or in season, it will probably change. Because again, like in Classic, if you are pulling cards, like, yeah, it's great to sell them, but if you've got like a really good one coming out of a box, or your factory, or even just finishing first and pulling a star, you know, like you could now look and go, oh, do you know what? Well, rare in season prem, I've got a keeper anyway, and this guy's a stud, and do you know what? This guy and that guy on the secondary market aren't that expensive in season versions, and I've got a team all of a sudden. So it's where the money's at, you know.
I think the biggest change, or at least the biggest thing that they announced that could affect strategy changes, are boxes in season. Because I think there were a lot of people who were like, I'm okay only playing classic because I want boxes, I want essence. That's where you do it. And they're like, hey, you get them in season too. And now you're like, well, I really want to win cash. I want to win essence. I can do that in season now. Maybe I should do that.
Is winning just cash in essence greater than winning just cards in essence overall? Because you don't then have the random crappy tier 4 pool for your 49th place finish. You can just take a tenner, you know. So yeah, I never really thought about it in that exact way, but yeah, it's definitely like, yeah, it makes so much more sense to be like, especially if you're newer, like an in-season player for this year coming, and not mess with classic. Because classic, like if we're all going into it, we've got classic cards, like I said before, it'll be very rewarding to do well, and it'll be a good buzz and all the rest of it and whatever. But if you're starting from zero going into classic, it is kind of lambs to the slaughter, you know. Like if you were just to pick up today and say, right, I'm going to buy 20 cards and get 3 keepers and get 5 defenders, 5 mids, you know, whatever, and then you're going in with level 4 guys with no collection bonus, and you know, like you're not going to go far unless they all need to hit 90 plus, and then you could probably feel aggrieved for finishing 12th. But
Peter, who won a lot of cash recently, said winning cash is no fun.
Wait till Peter doesn't win cash for a while. Wait till he does that, and then I'll take his opinion.
Too easy. NFTM says, not really seeing the point of playing classic other than having classic cards. Pascal said they really need to do something to keep non-elite cards alive, which I guess I read that as like every card needs to be alive, which I don't think is actually what Pascal's saying. But I think the special weeklies, there'll be enough cat modes and stuff that they'll do it.
Yeah. I think it's more of a case of like, you just don't want to have, like, there's still guys that are good, but they're just not great, you know?
Yeah.
And if you like that guy, if he's your only guy, could be a number of things. You just don't want him to be pointless, or like he's just not going to be good enough, you know, no matter what. Like even we're talking about the substitute thing earlier on, like Andy's dead on, like a sub is still a sub, and if he does come on with 35 and get 10 AA, that's still not going to win you. He did lay haw.
Yeah.
But there should be somewhere there. Maybe it's Division 4 because no one's going to play it with a serious team. And it is just going to be, if you finally get to your third team, and your third team entry has to start at the bottom of the pyramid. And those are the guys that can help you get from D4 to D3. And then when you get to D3, hey, they're useless now and you do need somebody better. Maybe there's a bit of a life cycle like that happens. But yeah, it does feel like, you know, so many cards. Like again, we spoke about this before. Like good guys will have their day in the sun. But some guys don't. Some guys just aren't. Like, this is a funny thing, right? Thiago Martins is in MLS All-Star team, and New York City made a big deal about it. If you look at his scores, especially compared to other MLS defenders, it is somewhat baffling that he was the player that New York City gave into the All-Stars #1, and at #2, he's an All-Star centre-back, you know, based on his SO5 score. And everyone's like, oh yeah, he's been doing so great, and you know, but he doesn't do better than 54 ever, you know, like even with a clean sheet.
Oh, he's dreadful.
You know. So there's guys like that are kind of good, but mainly pointless.
Mm-hmm. Mainly pointless. KB said, I think the number of boxes and volume of essence could be reduced drastically in comparison to the Euro prize pools, which I think Peter mentioned that he thought that it would probably be reduced. And Peter, my apologies if I am misquoting you here, but I think he said that like the current Euro percentages would be in D1 and then worse as you go down, which makes sense. Like I think they're going to always continue to push people to be in Division 1 or at least try to get there as much as possible.
Yeah. And I think, like, on that note as well, one thing I've tried to give them a bit of license with over this whole handover period up until this point is that, and again, like they've said it, I've said it, you've said it, everyone's said it enough times, we need to see what happens with special weeklies before you can really hold them out as something. Mm-hmm. But, like, maybe special weeklies is, like, legitimately, like, really the answer to everything here, because I imagine they're going to do a special weekly probably every game week when you consider Champions League and whatnot is midweek, and then there's going to be weekend stuff. So $1.5 million, let's say there's 1 to 3 special weeklies a game week as an average. Would we call it 1.5, 2? I don't know how you'd want to think of it, but so then you're talking about 36 game week. No, it'd be more than 36, wouldn't it? It'd be 36 weeks, so 70 game weeks or so. 1.5 million over 70. What does that average out at?
But also that I don't think they're going to give cash to every special weekly. Like
Fair.
Some will be for jerseys or tickets. Maybe they just do some that are you just win boxes. Like I think literally the possibilities are endless for them. It stops at their creativity essentially.
It's a saying we've got in Scotland. I don't know if it's in England, but my back of the fag packet maths, right? I don't know if you've ever heard that one before. Back of the fag packet maths says that would be roughly 21.5 grand a game week in prize money. If that's a Champions League.
And then $1,000 to everybody else.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. But again, it could be like top tackler. So you're after your guy like Thiago Martins that will get 4 tackles in a game, even though he's only dropping in 48 points or something, you know. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, so there could be some bits and bobs that special weeklies kind of cover over. Because when I look at this, like maybe this is just the set menu, just like the base. Like this is just the shit that's going on. But this is really the party, you know. It's like Champions League midweeks and weekends. It's caps and all stars, or you know.
I think as long as we know what's coming with enough notice, it'll be fine and great. I'm very curious about them including threshold contests. Like if they actually pay cash in those contests or not.
Yeah, that will be interesting. I didn't notice it on the announcement until you highlighted it earlier. But
every Sorare update, I just do Control F threshold, and this one actually hit.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it feels like it would be hard for it to be not money. You know, because it can't be like threshold for card payout. That's just bollocks, you know.
Like Peter here is saying they'll pay essence, but like then you're basically just paying cards. And like, do we have enough cards for that?
I think it has to be money for doing some sort of threshold thing. Like, but it won't be easy. It'll be like top target on the old system that we had, you know. Everyone who hits 450 points gets
right. Yeah.
It's like, how many people got it? Your game week preview. So many people hit it last week. Oh, nobody. Okay.
Well, it's one of those.
Maybe that's why the 15 million is like they don't know how to quite frame it.
I forget which show it was, but somebody mentioned that like if they had the possibility of like get 5 100s and you win $1 million.
Yeah. Raw score.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what scarcity is or whatever it is. Perfect 500, you win $1 million. And the number of people who will go after that is way bigger than we think.
Especially if limited cards are included. Like, you know, Gator Guy will do that every week. Like
Max Center.
No problem at all. Like there would be like a subsection of the community that would be jackpot chasers for that.
Absolutely. Surface. There you go. That was your idea. Thank you.
Top man.
Surface who probably wouldn't go after it, but probably it is a good idea.
But we probably win it by accident.
But it's 75th lineup of the week. Oh yeah, that's the one that won $1 million. Anyway. You got anything else, Quinny?
I'm not too sure. I don't think so. I think like I've seen some comments that kind of echo a lot of the feelings that a lot of you guys are sharing with some of this stuff. I do think that, again, like, it's been writing on the wall for a little bit, but champion cards, period, are the things to be dealing in. And I think that, you know, the in-season prize pools for the non-champion regions are competitive enough and fine if you're going to go and play them. But the card rewards are not going to be, like, winning tier 3 contender and challenger cards isn't going to be any different than it was yesterday. But maybe winning tier 3 champion cards is now, because people are a bit high now on La Liga, being maybe a wee zig and a zag opportunity, same with Bundesliga. Even just in general, like if you're looking to get into this game, if you're revamping your strategy, whatever, like champ is just where everything kind of revolves around now. So whether you actually feel viable to win with a team butt is another matter, you know.
Yeah. Do you think we see like a recognizable increase in similar players between like La Liga and Serie A, because you can play the La Liga guys in 2 comps versus the single one in Serie A?
La Liga will be interesting as like a section of the market, because like you've mentioned, like La Liga's not covered in scorers that are that great, you know. There's a lot of guys that can peak out, you know, but very few like meta cards in that sense. I think it might be a bit more like French and Italian cards like dip a bit against them, except for the meta cards. Like it's kind of the same thing as when D2 came out, you know, but like the run-of-the-mill 52 defender in France is going to be a fraction of the price of the 52 defender in Spain or something. You know?
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting one from Toby. Said there could be a couple good Serie A and Ligue 1 cards down in the tier 2 and tier 3 prize pools, because the hype for the La Liga, Bundesliga, and Premier League cards will like push those prices up. So if those guys go up, then somebody's got to come down. So it's an interesting one.
Yeah. I think Italy is like a good alternate strategy as well for champion, because like I was waxing lyrical about it towards the back end of the season, but they've got like 8 or 9 teams in Europe next year. You know, Atalanta just won the Europa League, and Juve are really rebuilding. Inter are brilliant. Blah blah blah. And you know, like some of those teams, like if you can get a squad together or whatever, like some of those teams will do really well. The problem with Italian teams is they don't score like that many goals, but a lot of them don't concede that many.
Yep.
So SO5 wise, there is a cocktail to be had there maybe. So
Glenn's on the Juve train here.
Yeah, big time. I've been promoting them for a wee while on my member stuff. Just some of because they're not licensed to now. Like the players are buying do have cards, will be probably very good, I think.
Yep. Agent Cooper said Real Sociedad are going to be PSV of next season.
I hope so. That'd be nice.
I bet.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right. Thank you to everybody for joining. If you have any follow-up questions on all of the stuff that we went through, please don't send them here. I don't have any other answers. Go to Sorare. They'll know. I'm sure the FAQ is being updated as we speak. So contact them. Hopefully we'll work through it all. But yeah, if you have watched this stream, please hit the like button. It's always very appreciative. It's been way too long. There's like hundreds of people here, and I'm sure we're very short on the likes based on that. So if you could please like the video, much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel. Shout out to this guy right here. Quinny, thank you very much for coming on twice
Pleasure.
today. Got a double header from Quinny, so thank you, sir. And for everyone else, good luck out there and have fun.
Welcome to the Sorare.